In this video, we are going to use algebraic expressions to solve word problems. So it is very important that you watch the instructional video first before you attempt to do this lesson. This is exercise or practice 27, and it starts on page 8. And what I have done before the video, I just took the problems from the practice 27 and put those on some notebook paper so I can have room to work them out without trying to cram everything in to one little space. So these are the same problems, they're just on paper that I have room to write on. So here's number 1. Russell pays a professional to paint his kitchen. He pays $2.50 per square foot and a fixed cost of $300 for the materials. Russell pays the painter $800. How many square feet is his kitchen? Use A to represent the area of Russell's kitchen. So you guys know how I do this. I always set this problem up in my own words first. So I'm going to say that the cost of this job is the area plus the flat fee or the base rate or whatever you want to call it, the fixed cost. But remember, this is in my own words, so it's the word that makes sense to me. You should use the word that makes sense to you. So let's take a look here. We have $2.50 per square foot. That's area. So I'm going to say $2.50 per square foot, per each square foot. So there's my variable. It's 250 times a number of square feet. I know that plus is a plus sign. I know that is an equal sign. $300 is the fixed cost, and I'm calling that the flat fee. So let's put that right there. And then the cost, what he paid the painter, was $800. So I have my equation ready to solve right here. And to do that, I'm going to come over here where I have room. 800 is $2.50 A plus 300. So to solve this equation, we're going to use the method. I'm going to use the method that I showed you. You don't have to do this. If you don't like it, you can do whatever you've learned. But we are looking at our number side. And then here is our variable side. So I'm going to move the 300 over to the number side and cancel. So I am left with 500 equals $2.50 A. So we have 500 divided by $2.50, and we do not have a calculator. But when I figure this out, that will tell me the area. So I'm going to have to do this longhand. This is why we had to cover division of decimals. And I'm going to change colors to do this. So I have 500 divided by 2.50. I'm going to leave off that extra 0 and move my decimal one place. So I'll move it one place here as well. 25 will not go into 5, but it goes into 50 2 times. Bring down a 0. 25 into 0 is 0. Bring down the second 0. So the area of his kitchen is 200 square feet. And I need to go back to my problem sheet and fill that in. So the answer to number 1 is C. Number 2. Sandy makes a mixture of almonds, raisins, and pretzels. She uses twice as many raisins as almonds and 3 times as many pretzels as almonds. How many almonds are there in the mixture of 210 total pieces? Use A for the number of almonds. This is a classic algebra problem. Okay, so in my own words, we have almonds, raisins, and pretzels, and she's mixing them. So that is addition. And I can never remember how to spell raisins. I always want to use an A there. Almonds plus raisins plus pretzels, and she has a total of 210 pieces. So at least we know our total. And they say to use A for the number of almonds. So I can do that. So let's take a look about the raisins. She uses twice as many raisins as almonds. So the raisins are going to be twice the number of almonds. She uses 3 times as many pretzels as almonds. So the the pretzels are going to be 3 times the almonds. And this problem is coming together, because when I combine like terms, I have 1A plus 2A plus 3A, that equals 6A, is 210. And then to solve this one, I have 6A equals 210 using the method I taught you. Let's put this together. So we have variable on this side, and we have number on this side. We need to divide by 6 on both sides. Now the only thing that I would like better about this is if they gave me a calculator, but they didn't, so let's do it longhand. We have 210 divided by 6. If you are in doubt about whether you should be using a calculator, please contact your instructor. And then 0 is 35. 0. So A, that's the number of almonds, is 35. And that is B on my answer choices. She used 35 almonds in this recipe. Number 3. The area of a rectangle is the product of the length and the width. The length of a rectangle is 3 times its width. Use W for width. Which 2 expressions represent the area of the rectangle? So I am going to organize this problem with a sketch of a rectangle. it says to use W for width. That is right here. And the length is 3 times the width. So length is 3 W's. The area is the product. That means multiply length times width. So the formula is A equals L times W, or area equals the long side times the wide side, and that is 3W squared. So one of my choices is B. My other choice is A, because if you look at, just a second and I'll show you, A and B are saying the same thing. If you look at A, that's what I have right there. So for number 3, you want to choose A and B. Number 4. An event center uses 8 chairs per table and 20 chairs along the wall. The event center uses 212 chairs. How many tables does the event center use? Use T for the number of tables. So we have chairs at tables. Let's do it this way. We have chairs per table. And the chairs along the wall. And those chairs are the total. So you've got the chairs at the table and the chairs along the wall, and that's your total. R is a linking verb. That's an equal sign. The word and means add. So we have 20 chairs along the wall. That's going to go here. We have 8 chairs per table. So we have 8 per table. And the total is 212. And they said to use T for tables. So that's 8T plus 20 is 212. And this is what we need to solve. So we have 8T plus 20 is 212. Set up your frame to solve this problem if you're doing it that way. So we have the variable, and then we have the numbers. And I'm going to move the 20. So we have 8T left on this side, and on this side we have 192. And then I need to divide both sides by 8. If you have the calculator, please use the calculator. If you don't, we need to come down here and do some long division. So we have 192 divide 8. 8 into 19 is 2. 8 into 32 is 4. So T is 24. And remember, T was tables. So there are 24 tables at this event center. And that is option B. All right. That was number 4. I didn't number all of mine, so number 5. Slalom skiers race down a mountain and through gates to the finish line. The racers' final times are how long they are on the course plus 3 seconds for each gate they miss. How long is a skier on the course who misses 4 gates and has a total time of 41.3 seconds? Use T for the number of seconds. So what I need to start with is the setup. Times are how long they are on the course plus 3 seconds for each gate they miss. I'm going to write that. Times are time on the course plus 3 seconds per missed gate, or something similar. I'm basically just copying that green highlighted sentence. Okay, we know that are is the linking verb. That's the equal sign. I know the plus sign. I know that 3 per missed gate. Actually, sorry, I'm messing up here. Let me just leave that blank for a second. Let's put our numbers in here. Total time is 41.3. That's this number. Misses 4 gates. So that's 3 seconds per 4 gates. That's 12 seconds. We don't know the time on the course. That's going to be T. So we have 41.3 equals T plus 12. 41.3 equals T plus 12. To solve it algebraically, you have variables and you have time, seconds. I'm just going to call it the number side. So I will subtract 12 from both sides. Put your 0 in there if you need it. So time is 29.3 seconds. And that's option A. Number 6. A triangle has a base equal to 1/2 the sum of its height and 3. The base is 6 centimeters. What is the height? Use H for the height. This one's a tough one. The wording here, to me anyway, it's a tough one to me. It may not be to you, but the wording is kind of confusing here. So I'm going to sketch myself a triangle and realize that this is the base and this is the height. So let's see what they tell me. The triangle has a base equal to 1/2 the sum of its height and 3. So the base is 1/2 the sum of the height and 3. And they also tell me that the base is 6 centimeters. So all that mess is equivalent to 6. But they want us to find this dimension. What is the height? That's what we're looking for. So our formula is going to be 1/2 the height plus 3 equals 6. Here is the equality. It's this statement and this amount are the same thing. So we have to solve this problem. Now we can't put parentheses in our solving frame, so here's what we're going to do. 1/2 h plus 1/2 times 3, that's 3/2, equals 6. So we've distributed that 1/2 through there. Now I'm going to do something here because I prefer to work with decimals if I don't have a calculator. So I'm going to change this. 1/2 is equal to 0.5 and 3/2 is equal to 1.5. I'm just going to put those in decimal form so I can work with them a little more easily. You don't have to do that, but I just prefer to work with decimals. So my solvable equation is 1/2 of h plus 1.5 equals 6. Or you can do this with the fractions, especially if you have a calculator. This is not too bad if you have a calculator. Okay, so I have the variables on this side and the constants, the numbers on this side. And I'm going to move the 1.5. This to me is much easier than dealing with a decimal. A fraction. So 10 minus 5 is 5, and 5 minus 1 is 4. So 0.5h equals 4.5. And so I need to divide by 0.5. I still have to do this long division, but I would rather do it with decimals. So I have 4.5 divided by 0.5, and I move those decimals. 9 into 45 is 5 times. Where am I? I'm ahead of myself. I'm sorry. It's 0.5. My brain already did the math for me. How about 9 times? So 9 centimeters is the height of this triangle. That's a tough one, guys. If you need a little extra help on that one, please contact your instructor. And that was number 6. Number 7. The profit of a business is the difference between the revenue and the cost. Now that's important. Profit is difference between revenue and cost. Profit is revenue and cost. Difference is minus. So they're telling me right there how to set this thing up. The daily revenue for scooter ride is the product of 12 and the number of scooters rented. So revenue is 12 times the number of scooters rented. The cost is the sum of the number of scooters rented and 400. Scooters plus 400. How many scooters does Scooter Ride rent when the profit is $260? So 260 is 12s minus this amount. Now remember, when you have a minus outside of parentheses, you need to distribute that 1. So you will have minus 1s minus 400, and the 1 is a ghost, so it's probably not going to show up in a problem. And then don't forget your 12s out here, and that all adds up to 260. So the problem that I'm going to try to solve, or not try to solve, that I will solve, give me just a second here. I need a little more room on that. Let's simplify a little more. We've got 260 equals 12s minus an s, that's 11 s's, minus 400. So here is the equation that I need to solve. 260 equals 11s minus 400. So this is the constant side. This is the variable side. And I'm going to move the 400. So I have 660 equals 11s, and I'm going to divide by 11 using long division. So 660 divided by 11 is going to be 6 times, bring down a 0. So there were 60 scooters sold, and that is option D. Profit, revenue, cost problems are sometimes hard to set up. They follow this basic format, but these are not the easiest problems in my opinion. Number 8. The prize money for a horseshoe tournament is split between the top 3 places. Second place receives twice as much as third place, and first place receives 6 times as much as third place. A tournament has $720 in total prize money. How much does third place receive? Use P for the dollars received by third place. Okay, I'm going to ignore this part, and I'll show you why. First of all, we have first plus second plus third equals $720. Which of these places receives the smallest amount of money? It's the third place. That's the one that you want to make your variable. And I'm going to use T for third, because I want to use, instead of P, which makes no sense to me, I want a T for third. And it doesn't matter. You can use any letter you want to. That's going to be my problem is coming together, but I still need to put in first and second places. So look at this one. Second place receives twice as much as third place. So that's 2 times third place. And first place receives 6 times as much as third place. So 6 times third place. You see how I have put all of these in terms of T. You want to get all one variable. So let your variable be the smallest of the 3 or 4 or ever how many you have. Always let it be the smallest one and it will work a lot better. So I have 6, 7, 8. That counts as 1. 9 T's for $720. So here we go. 9 T's is $720. And let's put this together into a problem. Here is the variable. Here is the constant. And here is the solution. 9 goes into 72 8 times and we bring down a 0. So the third place winner gets $80. And that is option A. Okay, number 9. 3 football players test their strength by bench pressing 225 pounds for as many reps or repetitions as possible. Ben does twice as many reps as Nathan, and Terrell does 5 more reps than Nathan. The 3 players complete 41 reps in all. How many reps does Nathan do? Use N for Nathan's reps. So we have Ben, we have Terrell, and we have Nathan, whom we are calling N, and together they do 41. Okay, so let's look at Ben. Ben does twice as many as Nathan. So Ben is 2 times Nathan. Terrell does 5 more than Nathan. So Terrell is N plus 5. And all that added together is 41. So let's combine our N's. We have 2, 3, 4 N's plus 5 is 41. And that's what we need to solve. 4n plus 5 equals 41. And here is the setup for that, where we have the variable and we have the constant. So I will move my 5. I'm left with 4n equals 36. Divide both sides by 4. Nathan does 9 reps. 36 divided by 4 is 9. So the answer to number 9 is 9, or option C. Number 10. Brad formulates an expression to find the number of screws needed for a certain type of bridge. The number of screws is 2,500 plus the quotient of the length of the bridge and 1.5. Which 3 expressions represent the number of screws? Use L for the length of the bridge. My goodness gracious. This is a problem, isn't it? But here's what we need to know. The formula. The number of screws is 2,500 plus the quotient of the length of the bridge and 1.5. Let's just write that down. The number of screws is 2,500 plus the quotient of the length of the bridge and 1.5. So we have the number, there's the equal sign. Number is 2,500 plus L over 1.5. I already see one of them. That's option B. But we need to find 3 expressions that are equivalent. So we have to think very carefully here. I can eliminate A because it has no division, and that's what quotient means. The others have division. I can eliminate F because it has subtraction. It also has the 1.5 on top, so we can't do that. E looks good to me because it's the same thing, it's just that the order's reversed. So E isn't one of them. E is one of them. It's the same as B, it's just written in the opposite order, and that's fine with addition. Same thing with D. It's saying the same thing, it's just using the division sign instead of the fraction bar. C is not it because there's no addition in there. So the answers you want for number 10 are B, D, and E. Number 12. The height of a window is equal to the product of 1/3 of the window's width and 8 inches. What is the width of the window with a height of 128 inches? Use W for the width of the window. So I'm going to sketch myself a window, and we know that we're supposed to use W for the width. Tells me right there. We also know that the height is 128, and that is equal to, that 128 is 1/3 of the window's width times 8 inches. Product means to multiply. So we have 1/3 of the width times 8, and that is equal to 128. So there's my equation. It's kind of a scary looking one, but we'll manage. We have 128 equals 1/3 W times 8. So let's follow the rules that we know. This is our constant, and this is our variable. And we're supposed to multiply 1/3 times 8. So let me come down here. If you have a calculator, go ahead and use it. If you don't, this is what you do. 1 times 8 is 8, 3 on the bottom. So this comes out to be 8 over 3 with a W. And that is equal to 128. And then we use the reciprocal, which is 3 over 8, on both sides. Again, if you have a calculator, you are very fortunate. So we end up with W, and we need to do 128 times 3. That'll give us the top number. That's 384 on top, and an 8 on the bottom. So then I need to do a little bit of long division down here to figure that one out. 8 into 38 is 4, that's 32. 8 into 64 is 8, so I'm looking for the width of 48. And that is A. Whoops, sorry. I don't know what I hit accidentally there. Number 13. Jerome charges $100 for spider prevention and $400 for clearing out bed bugs. He does twice as many spider jobs as bed bug jobs in a month and makes $3,000. How many bed bug jobs does Jerome do? Use B for the number of bed bug jobs. This problem gives me the creeps. Okay, so he deals with spiders and bed bugs, and for a month he totals $3,000. He charges $100 for the spiders and $400 for the bed bugs, and he does twice as many spider jobs as bed bug jobs. So if B is bed bugs, and they tell us to use B for bed bugs, spiders would be 2 times B. Okay. And all of that adds up to 3,000. So the spider jobs would be 200B plus the bed bug jobs are 400B, and together that is $3,000. So we're looking at 600B equals 3,000. So to solve this one, if you use your frame, you may not need your frame to do this one, but if you need it, go ahead and draw it. You have the variable and you have the constant. And this is a one-step problem where we have to divide. 6 into 30 is 5 times. So the bed bug jobs are 5 jobs. Let's leave that problem. What do you say? Number 14. The length of a field, there's my field, is the sum of 1/3 of its width and 300 feet. Let me read that again. The length of a field is the sum of 1/3 of its width and 300. The length is 370. So those two things are equal. And we need to find the width. And we use W for width. So we have 1/3 W plus 300 equals 370. So we are going to have a variable and a constant. And I'm going to move my 300. So I'm left with 1/3 W equals 70. And then I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. 3 sevens are 21, and there's a 0 over 1. So 210 is the width of the field. And that is option C. Number 15. Is that right? Yes. Dwayne earns $12 per hour and $50 every time he sells a set of kitchen utensils. One day, Dwayne sells one set every hour and makes $496. How many hours does he work? Use H for hours. So, he sells kitchen utensils. He gets a salary of $12 per hour. So that's 12H. Plus, he gets $50 per set sold. And on one particular day, he made $496. And it tells me that he sells one set every hour. So instead of 50 per set, we're going to say that he got 50 per hour because he sold a set every hour. So this is a 50H also is 496. So we need to add the 12 and the 50. That's 62H equals 496. If you need your solving frame, go ahead and build that. That's only when you need it. So we have 62H. If you need it every time, that's fine. And I can already tell you that I don't like this problem because I have a long division to do. If you have a calculator, use it. If you don't, we have to work it out the long way. So here we go. 496 divided by 62. $62 cannot go into 4 or 49, sorry. So I need to take it into that whole amount. So we list our multiples. 62 times 2 is 124. 62 times 3 is 186. 62 times 4 is 248. 62 times 5 is 330. 62 times 6 is 372. 62 times 7. I'm doing these in my head, guys, so I think I'm going to go to my calculator. I don't trust my head far enough to do this, so let me just be sure. 62 times 2, we know 62 times 3 should be fine. 62 times 4, 62 times 5. That's wrong. I knew something didn't feel right. So this is 310. I am very tired, and when I have to carry numbers in my head, I get tripped up. I've told you many times, don't take a chance on missing these because of laziness. And that's what I was doing. And it will matter. 62 times 7, we're getting into the neighborhood. Remember, 9 is as high as we can go. 62 times 8. There it is. So, I forgot what we were doing. He worked 8 hours on this particular day. I would tell you to use the calculator on that one. That's just too much work for. Alrighty, let me try to move this up. Number 16. A jet flying in the direction of the wind moves faster. The distance the jet flies is equal to the product of the duration of the flight and the sum of the flight speed and the wind speed. A jet flies with the wind for 2 hours for a total distance of 1,160 miles. The flight speed is 550 miles per hour. What is the wind speed around the jet? Use W for the wind speed. This one is so confusing to me. I think I'm going to set up a variable box. Or do I need to do that? Let's just try. Let's start setting it up and see what we come up with here. There's the word is or is equal to. The product of the duration of the flight and the sum of the flight speed and the wind speed. So product is multiply the duration of the flight by the sum of the flight speed and the wind speed. I am going to do a variable box on this one just to help me keep it organized. So here are the variables involved in this problem. We have duration, which is length of the flight. We have speed of the jet itself, that's the flight speed. And we have the speed of the wind. I think that's what's confusing to me. They're two different kinds of speeds. We also have miles. We have distance. So I see 4 different variables at work here. That's another reason this is complicated, because there are a lot of variables. The more variables in this box, the more complicated the problem will appear to be. Okay, so the jet flies with the wind for 2 hours. That's the duration of the flight, is 2 hours. Total distance of 1160 miles. So this plane is flying at 550 miles an hour. That's the jet speed. And we want to know the wind speed. That is our W. So this box helps me to organize all of this stuff that I have to keep up with. There's the flight speed. And then it says to use W for the wind speed. So do you see how I have plugged in all of these numbers into their respective places in the variable box? That's a good way to start a problem, to organize it this way. But here in this blue area, this is what I need to use for my formula. It's the product, so it's saying multiply. That's another word for product. Multiply duration by the sum of flight speed and wind speed. Okay, so it's giving me directions on what to do, and that will give you this total 1160. So let's first do these two. The sum of the flight speed is 550 plus W, wind speed. We're multiplying that by 2 to get 1160. If you ever decide to become a pilot, you will know a little bit about how to calculate this. I can't put parentheses into a solving frame, so I need to distribute that too. I have 2 times 550. That's, let me do it right here. I'm just going to add it together. 1100 plus 2W is 1160. That I can solve. So I have 1100 plus 2W is 1160. This is the constant, and this is the variable. Minus 1100 minus 1100. 2W is 60. Divide by 2, so the wind speed is 30 miles an hour. And that is option B. That is not an easy problem. The variable box helps to organize, I think. And the last one, number 17. Jane runs and walks to train for large races. Her total distance is the sum of 6 times the hours she spends running and 3 times the hours she spends walking. Jane walks a third of the distance she runs one day and travels a total distance of 21 miles. How many hours does Jane run? Use T for the number of hours that Jane runs. What a problem. Okay, let's start where we know. We know that she runs and walks. That's, at least there are only 2 things that she does. Her total distance is the sum of 6 times the hours she spends running and 3 times the hours she spends walking. So they want me to add her running time plus her walking time. That's what sum means. So 6 times the running, 3 times the hours she spends walking, and that would be the total number of hours. So on this given day, her total is 21. But there's another piece of this puzzle. It says that on this given day, Jane walks a third of the distance she runs. So with this walking, I'm going to add a third of that distance. And this is the equation that we need to solve. 1/3 of 3 is 1. So that breaks down to 1t plus her running time totals 21. So 7t is 21. To solve for t, you divide by 7, and that leaves me with 3. So t equals 3. The number of hours that Jane walks is 1/3 of the hours that she runs. And that would be option C. And finally, we are finished with this very difficult lesson. If you have questions, and I completely understand if you do, please contact your instructor. These are tough problems, and if you have questions or need extra help or practice, your instructor can help you with that. I will see you in the next lesson where we will write and solve equations. And you're already doing that. So the next lesson should not be as tedious as this one was. But I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.